Yo, what's good? What's good with everyone? This is Absolute Zero, defender of the universe, and I'm back again. And I'm just trying to talk a little bit of Frank Ocean right now. So recently, it's been announced that Frank Ocean is back. He is back, and he's coming out with a new album. For any of you guys who've been living under a rock and you don't have any idea who Frank Ocean is, he is a member of Odd Future. He is a singer, rapper, songwriter. And when I first got into Odd Future, Frank Ocean was really one of my favorite members, and to this day he still really is. Doing R&B, I don't actually listen to that many R&B artists, but what stands out to me about Frank Ocean's music is lyricism, how tightly the songs are written, how he can storytell so well in his songs. The fact that his lines have bars, if it was rap, you would read these lines and they would be hard bars. You know what I mean? To take that approach into singing and to do an R&B really gives me like a really deep connection, and I really feel like I know where Frank Ocean is coming from when he's on the mic. He comes correct, even in those rare instances which he's rapping. I really feel where Frank Ocean is coming from. He's really good to me. So with his last project, he really had a lot of steam off of Odd Future. Odd Future was kind of hitting its peak, its pinnacle. Pretty soon after the release of Frank Ocean's project, they would start seeing a decline in popularity, but also, start to see more friction in the group as they break apart and go their separate ways. But this album came right off of Frank Ocean gaining more popularity from working with Jay-Z and Kanye West. He did, I want to say, 3 tracks on the Watch the Throne album. I mean, I could be wrong. I think this really got him more visibility into more people's eyes, especially like in that hip hop audience that Jay-Z and Kanye West, they strive in that more mainstream type of hip hop audience that might not be looking for an underground group like Odd Future. The thing about Channel Orange, though, it had this huge awareness boost because the media picked up this narrative that Frank Ocean was the first gay rapper to get like a major commercial release, which is an interesting thing to say. And it was interesting that was the narrative, considering the fact that, one, Frank Ocean isn't really a rapper. He raps from here and there, but he's really an R&B artist. And two, is Frank Ocean really gay? I mean, he seems more bisexual, but he didn't even have this as a prominent theme in the album. This was a very subtle minor theme in the album. He didn't push it, and the media picked this up and ran with it, and it gave this album a whole lot of attention. But this album dropped in 2012, and since then, Frank Ocean has pretty much been inactive. I could be wrong. Maybe he dropped some projects since, but I know he hasn't done a major record release, and the features that he's done have been very few and far between. I think he had one feature on Kanye West's album. I think he had a feature on Earl Sweatshirt's project, I Don't Like Shit, I Don't Go Outside. I could be wrong about that. And, if I'm missing any, tell me in the comments. But he's been largely missing for like the last 4 years. So the idea that I want to get out here is I really don't see this new project getting, one, as much sales as the last project, and two, reaching as many ears as the last one did. Don't get me wrong, I love Frank Ocean. I want him to sell 1,000,000 copies. I want him to sell like way more copies than he did of the last album. But I'm just being honest looking at it. Momentum means a lot in the music industry, and once you lose it, it can be really hard to gain back that original head of steam that you had when you were building up to your peak. And honestly, I feel like Frank Ocean could have peaked at a higher point than he ended up doing if he didn't, exit from the music industry the way he did when he did. Because at his most popular point, he kind of cut away and didn't produce as much music as he had in the years leading up to that point. So, I can speculate that he could have got bigger, but, it's hard to really know 100% for sure. But yeah, I really, really have a hard time seeing this album do as well as the last one did, at least from a sales point. I know that RJ Knight talked to me and he told me that there's a lot of economic factors at work because the economy is going south and it's harder because people don't have as much disposable income to spend on albums right now. But even if the economy was in as strong a position now as it was then, I still don't think it would sell as well. Maybe RJ might end up speaking on that more. That's not my area of expertise. I'm just gonna talk about the things that I see as other reasons why it's very unlikely he's gonna sell as well. I think his first week sales were around 120,000 copies of Channel Orange. This actually is kind of like an inaccurate number though, because he sold his album on Amazon for like $3 or $4 or something, and that causes it, not to get counted as a CD sale because there's a minimum dollar threshold that you have to get counted as an album. And because he sold it for so cheap, it actually didn't give him any sales. It's the system is like really, really, really bad for like music metrics. Like there's a bunch of loopholes and numbers that are missing, and they've changed the way they count the numbers since then. So it's a very, very, very confusing number that they give you, and you really have to look closely at that number to actually get the true meaning of what the number means. When we look at R&B right now, R&B is really a dying lane. There are not that many R&B artists who are, rising in R&B and coming up to replace the established acts or to even compete with the established acts. You have Rihanna, you have Beyonce, and then you have a precipitous drop off from there. R&B acts are struggling to get radio play, to have their own sound, to maintain their own culture. So the fall of R&B is definitely going to make it harder for an R&B artist to sell well in this lane. Then, like I said before, Odd Future at this point is almost completely broken up. So it's harder for him to convert off of his Odd Future audience and bring them to this record. I think that a lot of his core fans are Odd Future fans, don't get me wrong, but the fact that Odd Future isn't doing as well and he's distanced himself more from the group makes it harder for him to draft off them and get them to, support him and buy his album and listen to his music. And really, I think that whole first gay rapper narrative that the media was running with, that's very unlikely to happen again because you can only ride that momentum train once in that way. Regardless of if it was true or not, he got the benefits from all that media coverage, and I'm happy for him. It was kind of a weird situation, but at least it worked to his benefit. These are my thoughts on the matter. Maybe I'm wrong. If you have any thoughts about it, let me know in the comments, and I will definitely respond to you or try and get a video out or, something like that. So this is Absolute Zero, Defender of the Universe, Youauthorus. I'll see you in space. Peace.